Welcome back. Yes. So this, what I'm about to show you here is real. This is from Gabe. He sent this to me a couple nights ago, whatever it was, and yeah, I guess I'm gonna do a video on it because he sent it to me. So Gabe sends you something, so you drop the Pick'ems video. That's kind of like the train of thought there. Let's get right into it. Wait, hold on. Just give me a sec here because we need to look at the facts real quick. This is the first CS2 major. Lap it up. The fourth major put on by PGL. This is the first major ever in Denmark, if you can believe that, in Copenhagen, obviously. This is the first major to not have the Legends and Challenger stage. Actually, no, there was one major, the very first major, that just had participants. But this one's called the opening stage, and the next round will be called the elimination, so get used to that. There's seven gold logos if you count ents. So that creates a little bit of monotony there. In Blast Paris 2023, in the Challenger stage, there were 11 international teams. So 11 teams where they had at least 3 different nationalities that made up the roster. The opening stage of Copenhagen, 3 teams. There would be 13 teams if one player switched nationalities. That would be completely country individualistic, which means that there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of cohesion, chemistry, culture, all the things that pull people together and make them kind of a hive mind, but also very good at video games. So that kind of team play is what you can expect in the opening stage. And there's just one other thing, and that is money. Okay? As we can see, among the teams in the opening stage, very little total prize money has been won. So these teams are not accomplished. These organizations are either brand new money laundering schemes or just straight out aren't in tier 1 CS, which is the case for most of it. Okay, so a lot of these teams, not going to say they shouldn't be here, but it's one of their first times being here. And we have some superpowers like C9, and then down at the bottom we have a coagulation of different guys who have come together to make teams that are pretty much from the same country. Teams that are head and shoulder above the rest in terms of past success in their organization, past success for the players, and overall mechanical ability. There's 3 teams here. Cloud9, Heroic, and Furia. I mean, whose bracket is not going to have these 3 teams? If you don't have Cloud9, Heroic, and Furia, fill in the blank, fellas. Put them in the clink. You know, tie their hands up somewhere where they can't access a phone book or, anything dangerous. You need these 3 teams here. Okay? And I'll tell you why none of them are 3-0 candidate worthy. Cloud9, you don't have an opper. Okay? It showed. It just showed against Saw. You just lost to Saw. You just lost to the Rebels in Kato. You need an opper in order to function. Heroic, well, you've downgraded, okay? But your team is a better fit of guys. You have a pure opper. You have a pure IGL. Okay, Nerds, you have a pure aggressive rifler number 1. Tessus, you have a pure vet guy, and Shush, you have a pure glue guy. Kixan has played in the top ranked games of nearly the last year. Kixan knows what it's like to be here. He can call on this level, and he has a better team than he did last time in Apex. Furia, so why is Heroic not going to be 3-0? I think if you want to throw one of these teams in there, you should put Heroic. But they're not as good as Cloud9, so if they face Cloud9, I'm worried they're not going to beat them. But anyways, that's the thing. Furia are never in top form, it seems like, but they come to the major, and either they surprise or they... Fallen has looked good mechanically, I'm not going to lie. I'm liking where he's at, and I'm liking this roster in general. This should be the strongest roster, right? But it just hasn't been. Yeah, at your own peril, put them in 3-0, but I'd rather have them in the bottom 7 where I know that they're better than half the teams here, man. It's not going to be close. Take these 3, don't freaking look a gift horse in the mouth, accept the gift, and move on, okay? Move on to ends. Ends with Glaive at the helm. This looked pretty good. This looks pretty good. They had big wins in Kato, Vitality, and G2. I mean, those were big wins on the big stage. And Glaive, that man has muscle. He's got fight. He's like a Viking, and he's leading these Polish guys who also have experience. 9 in the major. I mean, they've been there before. And then Diha, who fits probably even better with them. Somebody mentioned this a while back on a stream I was watching, but D-Hop probably has played with these 9 guys longer than he's played and more with it than he's played with guys on his team from previous because he's been pugging with them forever. And I feel like he's comfortable. I see him smiling out there more than I've ever seen. I love to see that man smile. I love Ents getting by here. I think another 3-0 candidate because, just something about Ents. And they have a good leader now in Cuban who's a better coach than he's given credit for. He came off Apex and took them to great lengths. And speaking of Apex, they're the next team. I don't have much to say about them except that they made it pretty far in Paris, or was it? I think it was Paris, and they have a young IGL, and I think the young IGLs, the ones that are proven, are really popping off right now. You can look at Kixen, you can look at Shuhei. There's a couple others that I'm not thinking of right now, but there are lots of examples of teams with vets, riflers that know how to fill in the gaps, and an IGL who can lead them. So Apex, I mean, they have experience on their side, and they have a chip on their shoulder from always being the team that's counted out. Knock is a seriously good opper when it matters. Also, there's just a lot of garbage here. So I just think because they face top tier competition, just like Eternal Fire, both these teams, they're kind of like the runts of tier 1, where they can beat up a lot, but when push comes to shove, it's like you can see the guys on the court, and you're like, oh, I can beat him one-on-one. But then you go up and face them, and they're like 6'4", and they dunk all over you. That's Eternal Fire. They've been playing together forever, and I feel like that's Apex as well. Eternal Fire, it's really hard to put them in a box in terms of what they're capable of. If they look at their match history, they really only face the top of the tier 1. Like, I'm honestly more confident about them making it than Apex, just because they've had less changes recently. But I'm pretty dang confident about Eternal Fire. And I'll tell you what, one other thing I'm confident about is my O3. My O3 is Lin Vision, and it's because it's either them or Pain. There's some decent players from that scene on this team that have been around that could use their experience, their know-how, and their knowledge to beat a team like Pain, to even beat a team like Imperial, even though I like Imperial, um, to beat a team like Ecstatic. I could see Lin Vision taking advantage of other teams' lack of knowledge, the Starry Watermelons of the world. Um, but they're just the worst team here. I mean, the organization, they've been around for a while, and yet they don't have the winnings to back it up. They play in the weakest part of the world, the weakest region. It's a clear 0-3. They have a bad first matchup against Heroic. Pain also looked really bad in their RMRs. They definitely don't deserve to be here. Let's be honest. It should have been Furia, Cole, Liquid all day long, but, they don't deserve it. I mean, it's not fair, but I'm not going to get into that. Lin Vision is the worst team here. If you want to put Pain, I understand that as well. This is the worst version of Pain that we've seen yet. They do not deserve to be here, so either one of those teams. If they faced up against each other, I'd got to go with Pain. That's why I'm putting Lin Vision here. My last team on the bottom 7 is Saw. Why Saw? Why over 9 Pandas? Why over Amcall? Why over Koi? Man, recent play from going down 0-2 in the RMRs to winning 3 series in a row. 2-2-2, not dropping a map in 6 maps in a row. And then goes to the Blast qualifiers for the Spring Showdown and drops Liquid and Cloud9 4-1, and then just destroys OG because they were down a man. Saw is legitimate. Saw, I'm actually more confident about than EF or than Apex, just because of recent play alone. The Portuguese, I guess, are good at CS. Mutaris has been a pretty consistent IGL for a long time, but now he's got the firepower. He's got the couple phenoms, Erodos. which means like rice, like arrow rice or something, or arrow dos, no, 12 rice. I don't know. And then U jerks. So pretty consistently uh, dominating team from the last like month is Saw, and I feel like if you want to put Nine Pandas or Amcall or Koi, understand that all these teams are about the same level and they're all tier two and they're all have different levels of experience. But I just feel like if you want to go with the team that's hot right now, go with Saw. And for my 3-0, I am gonna go with Koi. I'm gonna kind of cover my butt just a little bit. Saw, if they lose in this first matchup against Koi, then maybe Koi can go on a run. The Movistar Riders are honestly one of like in my memory, I've started watching CS maybe in 2019, and they're one of the first teams that I remember seeing because I don't know, I think Smooya was on the team at the time or something like that. And so they've been around for a while. They've been to majors before, and it's like that whole team has stayed together, just kind of like Saw, and kind of like Amcall a little bit because they used to be in Tropic. So, I'm just going to go with one of the more experienced teams here. I like Nine Pandas as also kind of a flyer. What they did at the last chance qualifier was really impressive. Being able to beat out Astralis and then Gamer Legion it's super impressive. So we'll see what Nine Pandas has in that first matchup against Amcall. As always, those first matchups matter so much, and we're going to get so many interesting outcomes that we didn't expect. I'm going to be eating my words, and hopefully I'll be right about a couple things that I wasn't even, leaning towards. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. This is the opening stage. We'll see you very soon with the next stage. Hopefully we're there. Hopefully these coins are beautiful. Um, and I hope you get diamonds this year. I hope you get diamond. I hope we all do. I hope for success. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.